Chelsea just got beat 4-1 in pre-season by Celtic. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. There is a lot to talk about after this game. There's a lot to unpack. I think there are many a discussion to have. Firstly, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video. No preseason game 100% dictates your season ahead. I want to start by saying that. This is just 2 preseason and 2 games into Maresca's reign. And thirdly, a lot of players will be returning to this Chelsea side. Dewsbury Hall is still set to come in, the new signing. Of course, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Cucurella. Probably some more signings as well. So I want to, before I say what I'm about to say, I've got to put that out there. This Chelsea team played some nice football tonight. I'm kind of starting with the positives here. They played some good football. They actually created opportunities to score. But whether it be poor finishing or disgustingly bad final balls, the attacking element of the game tonight, the players let Maresca down. From an attacking perspective, he coached the game that could have seen Chelsea score 4 or 5 goals. At the beginning of both halves, they should have scored. And I'm at a stage where I'm saying I don't really care about the skill or the trick or the back flick or the dummy or the body feint that anybody did to get into those scoring positions. The most important bit in those scenarios is delivery. Madueke's final ball tonight was an abomination. I actually thought Raheem Sterling came on and made Chelsea look more dangerous, and he got very unlucky with one of his shots. After that, everything he touched turned to skittles. Guy up front. Again, decent pressing, good touches. Had one opportunity to score, didn't take it. Outside of that, again, looks young and raw, and I don't want to attack him as an individual. But attacking-wise, I think the manager coached a better outcome than they got. So I want to be fair. But defensively, this is something that you can take from preseason. This high line was exposed. Exposed beyond... I don't know what was exposed more tonight. Chelsea's high line or Maresca's hairline. Genuinely. This 3-4-3 formation, which kind of drops into a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 out of possession, is causing huge defensive problems for Chelsea. And I want to say this before I break down what I'm about to say, so that people don't get their knickers into a twist about what I'm about to say. I don't care that Celtic beat Man City, because we know what Man City are, typically speaking. I don't care if Arsenal have a few poor performances in pre-season. I think they've kind of earned our respect when it comes to what we know they're capable of doing in real football. Liverpool the same. But for Chelsea, how they play football in pre-season is so important, because it's a new manager with a new style. New systems, new formations, everything. This is test time. Often you'll get a manager like Pep that will try new things in pre-season and say, do you know what, that didn't work. Let's just play how we normally do. So this system's got to go already. I'm telling you now, it's got to go already. And I tell you as to why. I understand the challenge, which will be, but let them get used to it. Give them time. They don't have the time. These players are young, and Chelsea have had 2 bad seasons back to back. The manager has stated they can win the league. That is how good they are. That is a pressure. Rivals, the media, everybody is upon them. They must start the season well. If they start the opening 10 games and lose 4, draw 3, and only pick up 3 wins, the pressure then comes in, and the squad is young. And young squads struggle to cope in those scenarios. History proves that. And the reason I say the system has to change, and maybe it will look different. So this is the only thing I'll say where I could be mistaken, is maybe it will look different once the Caicedos, Dewsbury Halls, Enzos are back. This inverting the midfielders is crazy. Sorry, the right backs into midfield is crazy. In fact, let me rephrase it. They're not even inverting them. In attack, their midfielders. Crazy. But the reason why I'm not even sure about it changing when the midfielders come back, what you're telling me that Enzo Fernandez is going to become the right back in defense, because that's what they do. As soon as they lose possession, wherever they lose possession, Reece James has to get back, or Gusto has to get back into a right back position, and everybody changes. And I understand having fluidity in your attack makes it hard to be marked, makes it hard for your opponents to pick you up, can make you elusive, dangerous, difficult to read and understand. When it comes to defending, you have to be rigid, and they're not. There is a 5 to 10 second period after they lose the ball where they're trying to get into a rigid shape, but in that moment, there are holes everywhere. Holes everywhere, like a string vest. And Celtic passed through them. Now, I gave Chelsea the benefit of the doubt the other day against Wrexham, first preseason game. That was the same. In fact, it was worse. And Celtic are not even that good. Can you imagine what City do on the opening day of the season if there are not some changes to this system? So I am criticizing this. But of course, there is room for improvement. And if Maresca is the manager that he has been proclaimed to be, he will see these fundamental mistakes and problems and say, do you know what? I've got to change this. My team don't have the ability or don't understand, or in fact, it doesn't actually work at this level to go from 3-4-3, inverting my fullbacks into the middle, having central midfielders dropping out into wide positions, and then asking them at the drop of a hat, as soon as we lose possession, to go into a completely different formation. Everybody looks lost. So he can make those changes. He can make those fundamental changes today, tomorrow in training, and make things a little easier. My overarching view is this. Right now, he's overcomplicating things. Football is not a complex sport in reality. I always talk about a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 are basically the same positions. Nobody looks... Heat maps have taught us this. Oh, Odegaard is not a 10. He plays in an 8, Terry. You don't know anything. Look at his heat map versus other number 10s. It's identical. Forget the graphic on the screen. Look at the heat maps where people pick the balls up. And I feel that Maresca is overcomplicating things at the moment. And he has to get it right early, because this is a young and this is an impressionable squad who will feel the skeletons of the previous 2 seasons if they don't start well. As I said, I thought attacking-wise, it was good movement, good passing. The manager coached a good attacking game today. But the transition into defending is leaving holes everywhere. That coupled with the higher line, Chelsea were exposed. And that is, for me, something that stands out. That is something that needs to be addressed before the season begins. That is a stylistic issue which will carry itself into next year. It really will. And confidence will be hit by that. And they need to improve on that. Do us a favor, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Make sure you are subscribing as well. If people think I'm being harsh, tell me as to why you think I'm being harsh. If you think I'm going over the top, again, tell me as to why. But oh yeah, by the way, Carl Palmer to come back into the team as well. I forgot about Carl Palmer. I don't know how I forgot about him. One of the best players in the Prem last year. So they have a number of individuals to come back and improve this team, and they'll take more chances. They'll score more goals. There's no doubt with what they've got coming back and people getting fit. But from my perspective, defensively, they've got to fix things. They really do. Your opinion is invalid. Are you the dude that DMs me a lot? Tyrone? Is that you? I need to check. Is it you? It is you. This guy's always DMing me, having a pop at me. I do reply sometimes. He basically, for 6 months, has been telling me to keep my opinions to myself, that nobody cares. But you do. You really care. Look how much he messages me. It's crazy. It just keeps going and 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 going. And just keeps going and going and going. And going and going and going. It just keeps going. But yeah, I mean, my opinions are valid. I haven't, and this is the thing with you, Tyrone. This is how I know you're struggling. This is how I know that you believe what I'm saying. Because I haven't been completely dismissive of positives. I haven't said there's no way of fixing it. I haven't said Chelsea are finished. I haven't said Chelsea are over the hill. All summer when it comes to transfers, I've said you haven't lost Paul. I've praised some of your signings that you have made. I've said that Maresca can make this work. But I'm looking, forget fitness, which I know is important. But if you can't see the holes in this team based on the system and what I've been saying, Tyrone, that you told me I'm wrong about, that you need to go and invest some serious money in proven attackers. Because those final balls and those shots tonight, who else is there? Barring Palmer, who else have you got coming in that's going to be able to score and create? Very few people. Unknown entities, rawness. You need to go and slap that 77 million down for Julian Alvarez. You've got to. You've got to, Tyrone. My guy. Badia Shield needs to go. Look, he looked shaky all game. He looked poor on the ball, and then he made that horrendous mistake to make it. Was that the third or fourth goal? That was the third goal. And look, again, the result isn't overly important, generally speaking. But there are elements of the performance that need to be looked at. The 4-1 makes it a bit more embarrassing. But it'd be the holes. And if Man United play tonight and we're being exposed in areas, and we can all see it's a system, you'll see me call it out. There's no doubt. But, you know, if you want to attack me, attack me. Ask Don if he's still challenging for the title. Yeah, Don did say they would challenge for the title. David joins me here now. First super chat, how you doing, brother? First super chat here says, ask Don if they are still challenging for the title. Do you think that team can challenge for the title based on tonight, David?
No. But I've been saying for months it's stupid to think that we're going to be challenging for a title. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So, yeah.
That is very true. People are. Look, I know we were all talking in the group chat, and, you know, I thought defensively you looked a mess. Everybody out of position, looking like they don't know what they're doing. The high line being exposed. What did you make of? I know it's mainly about fitness, but what did you make of the performance tonight? And does it fill you with confidence? Are you a little bit worried about the start of the campaign in 3 weeks?
Well, first, it is pre-season, so like you've got to take everything with like a pinch of salt. So like I'm not going overboard, but at the same time, it's like you still want to see basics carried out. Even if it's a new system, you still want to see simple patterns and stuff carried out. And again, same with the first game. You can see what we're trying to do.
Yes.
The issue is we just don't have, whether it's the cohesion or the players to carry it out. I'm not sure yet. I would like to see it when everyone's fully fit and healthy. But the main worry is if people do get injured, which is quite likely, what happens? Because I do think Enzo and Caicedo would actually work very well in this system. If one of them picks up an injury and Leslie's got to come in, or like not even Lavia, but like I'm talking about the ones below that, the ones below the main three.
Yeah.
If they've got to come in, it just looks very shaky. And again, the main thing with most of today's goals, or the reason why Celtic had so many chances, was we'd lose the ball in midfield because one of the midfielders wouldn't know what to do with it. and then all it took was 2 passes, and they were literally in behind, like no problems at all. I'm just looking, I was just very confused how you see it and then you don't adjust to it. But I guess again, it's preseason, so it's not like if there were points on the line, I'm sure I hope a tactical change would have been made. But again, they're still learning all this new system and so on and so forth. So I'm not again getting too annoyed by it.
No, and that element I agree with. I think what's really interesting is obviously you always get that hope with the new manager that it clicks really quickly and that you start to perform straight away. The fear I have for Maresca, just a little niggle in the back of my head, is if the season starts like this, you do have, for right or wrong reasons, is almost irrelevant now. You do have one of the most impatient fan bases in the world. Will the fans, along with the players, give the system time to bed in? I mean, we've heard Don say many a times as an example, well, look what Crystal Palace were doing almost instantly, so we expect that. And then you watch tonight and you think, well, whatever he's trying to do, these players don't look capable of playing it. At the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that, again, I just think subtle adjustments keep things more simple. For me, the biggest issue is, a comment here says right back out of position and a high line is not going to work. And I do look at that and just think, just stick to 4 at the back. If you stuck to 4 at the back and maybe drop that high line 5 yards deeper, you would probably resolve the vast majority of these issues instantly, in my view.
Yeah, obviously, again, like Cucurella is probably more naturally suited to playing that kind of inside midfield role than Reece James is. So obviously, if you've got Reece James playing, well, it's right at the back 3, but playing right back, and then you put the Cucurella as the inverting midfielder, that would probably make more sense in terms of what he's trying to carry out from day one. But these managers, especially from the Pep coaching tree, they love their systems and they stick to them. So I don't see. Yeah. I just don't see them dropping out of. Yeah, would it make sense to drop 5 and play a back 4? It probably would, but everyone said that to Ange last year, and he didn't change. And people have said to Pep, "Oh yeah, sometimes do this," and he's like, "No, because this is the style of football that I play." So I'm not expecting him to do it. But if we end up in a situation where we've got Chalobah and Disasi playing centre back, I would expect him to do so in the season, just because those two especially, I look at and go like, I don't think you have the not even it's not they don't have the ability, they just don't have the concentration for a whole game to play that really open style of football and not give the ball away in a really bad position. Because if you are giving the ball away in a really bad position from those deep centre back roles, then it is literally 1 pass goal every time, because there's just someone's naturally in the wrong place because you've got a fullback playing midfield. So if you give away the ball from the centre back, it's just
The thing is, I understand what people say preseason isn't everything, and it's not true. But we saw Man United's midfield in preseason at times last year getting exposed, and it was called out. And I remember saying to Staffy, "Look, it's preseason, mate. It'll get sorted before it begins." And we didn't address it until the last 4 games of the season in terms of adjusting the shape. And then as soon as we did it, we actually won all our games. And I suppose that's the issue here. It's I don't think it's time to panic, but like you've alluded to, if these problems persist and then the manager doesn't change anything, but then you get that issue of the players losing faith, the fans losing faith, the media jumping on top. Madrid on Wednesday. You're all.
Don't worry, it doesn't make sense to me either.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me either. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, you might beat them. I mean, Madrid. Can you imagine what Madrid's counterattack would have done to that team tonight? Oh my God!
It's like Vinicius or Rodrigo running in behind and not. I don't even know what his name was. But to be fair, Celtic looked pretty good. I can't lie. They did. They played some good football.
True Blue says, ain't it the same Celtic that put 4 past City? It is. And I'm not saying Celtic are an absolute dead, like awful team and it shouldn't have happened. But the problem is when City get beat, we know what City are going to do when the season begins. So that's why I think the situation is different. Arsenal fan AJ here says, we will displace Arsenal. We are better than Man United, Liverpool and Villa. These 1.5 billion worth of bums can't even entertain their fans.
That's not true. One thing I will say, Chelsea games are entertaining.
Oh, I enjoyed the game.
The games
I
are
enjoyed
brilliant.
the game, and your attacking play tonight was quite good. I thought, in terms of the approach play, it was really good. It was the final shot and final ball every time was awful. Awful.
Yeah, I mean,
Madueke tonight. I mean, he was cooking his fullback until the final ball, and then he played like you.
Yeah, no, literally, I was about to say those that he just couldn't do anything. The finish was so bad. That one moment when like Sterling came on, hit the post, and Cuckoo then got his shot blocked, and Guy literally had like an open goal, and then it's just there like, yeah, this ball's not going in the net. I was actually surprised we scored, even if it was a penalty. I was just surprised we scored because I've seen those kind of days before. Where it's just like it's not going in.
Do you know what I would say to Chelsea fans as well? I would say stop. This is just a personal feeling. Stop bigging it up. I'm not saying don't go, I like this signing, or I don't like that signing, or this looks good. Just, we're going to finish above these guys. Like, just keep it as quiet as possible. In my opinion, as quiet as a dormouse. No noise, no hype. Because that hype is actually going to put more pressure on your team, because social media and the media will jump on it, and Don, big up Don, and I would say this to his face, is not chatting behind his back, it's in front of thousands of people on the internet. But him saying that if they keep most of their players fit, they could challenge for the league, you just don't need to say it. Just don't put that pressure out there. That's just me, but there we go. Tommy here says, when Sterling was by far the best player on the pitch, he was. I thought he played well. It was just, again, the final ball was just off. Final ball was off.
Also, we were very heavy one-sided. We didn't like vary up which way we were attacking. It always went to Madueke, and I was just looking like Mudryk does exist. Like, and also Guiu again has actually looked quite good, but he was so very like not involved in the game. But every time he got on the ball, he was like, "Oh no, this kid can actually do something." Like, I just want to see more of him. But it is.
What I agree with that point. The overreaction of people on social media, but you're always going to get that overreaction and lack of a balance to you. Anyone that was poaching is most likely tonight almost rubbing their hands together, to kind of jump in. Matt, what did you make of it tonight?
Look, I don't really understand like what Enzo Mascara is trying to do. Like, it's like,
what did you call him? Hang on, did you just call him
Enzo Mascara?
Mascara.
Mascara.
Enzo Mascara.
That's a great name, to be fair. That is a great parody name.
Is
Enzo
that
Mascara.
Is that not his name?
But the thing is, Matt didn't mean it.
No, he didn't mean it. That's what's so good about it. He didn't mean it. No, it's Maresca, not Mascara.
Oh, I don't know why I called him that. I mean,
hey, Matt, if I was you, I'd copyright that and I'd make that your thing. Enzo Mascara. Because it will get used. It will get used. People will be on it.
But yeah, like in his training sessions, it's like he needs a translator. Like, these Chelsea players are just not, just showing him what he's taught them. Like, it's like they just don't care. Because I've seen some training sessions of theirs, and he's drilling his players and all that, but it's clearly not going into the Chelsea players. It's clearly not working, whatever he's trying to tell them. I mean, like, at one point, Reece James was like inverting at right back, and hold up, my screen just turned off. What? 1 second, screen just turned off.
It's fine. We can hear you. Keep talking. Just keep talking.
Oh, okay. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and I'm saying that it doesn't work because it just doesn't work. There is not much for me to say other than it just doesn't work, and I can't wait for the Premier League to be back on, because it does look like Chelsea are going to struggle in the Premier League. If they're getting battered by Celtic and they can't win against Wrexham, yes, it is pre-season, but it's not exactly like scintillating football, and you're not winning.
Let me play. Forget my opinions that I gave earlier. I'm playing host now, and I'm being devil's advocate. When you say they're not listening and it isn't working and it's disastrous, what about the first year, 2 years under Mikel Arteta? Why are you not giving the same energy to Chelsea that you clearly would have given 4 or 5 years ago to Mikel Arteta? Why are you not saying, look, it isn't working right now? You're alluding to the fact that they're not listening to him, they don't understand it. Why not give the energy that it's going to take time to really rebuild Chelsea? Why would you not come with that approach when you've seen your club go through it? Why are you behaving differently?
Okay, so coming from an unbiased point of view, like I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like in the Championship, Enzo, I'm not going to pronounce his second name. He nearly bottled a 30-point lead, and him coming to Chelsea just didn't make sense to me. I don't understand the appointment. I still don't. I still think they should have kept Pochettino, even though, you know, his football was dreadful, but it was coming good to the end of the season. I'm not sure why they broke up with him, if I'm being honest.
What I would say though is that, again, you can't just. It's not like he was like everyone in the Championship got deducted 30 points. He did make the 30-point gap, so like his football does work to a level. It's just
he did, but he nearly had the biggest bottle job I've ever seen from a
but he had to get there in the first place. You can't just be like, oh yeah, he nearly gave up a 30-point gap without giving him credit for building the 30-point gap in the first place. As Ram said yesterday, it's harder or Thursday, whatever it was, it's harder to build a gap than to get caught by City or whatever he was trying to say. But that's the point. What I'm trying to say is, it's like he did get the 30-point gap in the first place. So like, it's not like he can't manage at all. Like that's not the argument. Is how well is it going to work? That's what I'm going to say.
It's just funny. Someone says to me, Terry, what kind of question is that? Let me tell you what kind of question that is. Okay. You don't have to think the same way about every fledgling manager. So just because a manager has little to no experience like Arteta, it doesn't mean you have to give them all the same energy. That is a very basic bitch way of thinking. My job is to ask why you don't see it the same. Not just because it's a podcast and the idea is that we hear a breakdown and an understanding. It could be that, well, this is, a squad full of kids that's had 2 terrible years. I don't think these 3 things about Maresca are any good. I don't like this. I don't like that. Arsenal's situation was different for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons. Then it's a breakdown. That's why I ask the question, so that we get a deeper insight into why you believe what it is that you believe. This here says, would a loss have got us airtime last night? Hater. Oh, that's Liverpool fans crying because I didn't do a match reaction for them. I'm doing one of yours next week. I'm not doing match reactions to every single top 6 team. Also, City lost the other night, and that didn't get a match reaction either. So chill out, bro. 1-0 City. Oh, City playing tonight. I didn't even know. There we go. Ads, what you saying, bro?
Hey, hi, Terry.
Hello, mate. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I just watched the game. Being an Arsenal fan, as you mentioned, I would give the same benefit of doubt to Enzo as we did with Arteta, right? Because Enzo was actually a manager before coming to Chelsea. Arteta never managed a team before coming to Arsenal. But then again, it's up to the Chelsea fans to manage their expectations. Like even with Arteta right now, we are challenging for the titles and everything. But remember the first 2 seasons under him. We finished 8th, we finished 5th, we bottled 4th. So there would be ups and downs. The system, he might turn up to be the next Pep Guardiola. He might implement that system, but that system is very, very complicated. And the players would need some time to adapt. And this is a very, very young squad of Chelsea. So I won't blame the manager. I won't blame him completely. Yeah, he might need to adapt a bit depending on what players he have right now. He cannot go full throttle with that system. but even the fans, this is more for the fans to manage their expectations. People were talking about challenging for the league, the top four. That is just ridiculous for me right now.
I agree with challenging for the league is ridiculous. I also believe he needs some time, but that also doesn't. It's funny. I saw a really big Chelsea account who I know and respect quite well say that he's not going to pass any judgment on this Chelsea team or players until the end of the season. And I just said, well, how are you going to write your match reports? You've got to give opinions still. You've still got to, this is working, this isn't. It's about balance to me. And I do feel like football fans have almost lost the ability to be balanced. If that makes, like I've said earlier, I thought their attacking approach play was good. I like the fluidity in their attack. I just believe they need better players. I think the players in attack let the manager down tonight. What he does need to look at is the formation change in and out of possession, because in that transition, they're being exposed. The holes are being exposed in their team, and the players look confused. However, I'll concede that when they get their better players back, that may change things. So there are some positives. There are definitely some negatives and things that need to be worked on. How is Trevor? Let me just do these super chats, bro. Sorry. This is how is Trevor Chalobah getting forced out, and Badia Shield is on tour? I mean, do you get that? I'm not saying you think, David, that Chalobah is the greatest defender since sliced bread, but he's certainly better than some of the players that have gone on tour.
Yeah, but it's pure profit, and when you spend a lot of money, you got to make money. So, yeah. But I mean, I'm not one of these Chelsea fans that's really upset about Trevor leaving. Like, ideally would I like him to stay as a squad player? Yeah, but I get why he's being sold. But I'm not going to hate my club over it like some people have been doing. I think it's a bit weird. But yeah, that's what it is.
I get that. Noni and Mudryk should be sold. Not good enough. Would you agree with that, David? Are you you agree with that super chat?
Nah, I'm quite high on Mudryk. So out of the two, I'm quite high on Mudryk. I don't know. I don't know why. Don't don't judge me.
You and Dom must have some.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But no, don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. I just have this inner belief that Mudryk will come good. I'm not referencing stats or anything. It's just it's a personal thing. I just really like Mudryk. Noni just needs to improve his final product, but he's got flashes of being very good. So I'm not worried about Noni either. But this is what I mean. Like pre-season, and people are losing their heads is a bit of a worry, especially considering our first game is Man City. That could be interesting.
Yeah, people are losing their head. I mean, some are losing their heads, and I think they're genuine. I think there are some that some people I don't think are losing their heads. I think they're putting it on. I think they're putting it on. There are some, by the way, who I'm not going to name them because I don't like doing the beef stuff because it's a little bit weird in my personal opinion. But I sort of look at some of these situations and just think to myself, some people give it the big one so they can be angry later. Does that make sense? It's almost like they know they're not going to be as good as they're making out, but they say it so that they can then go, oh my God, the manager's a fraud. But you don't think he's that good anyway. Terry, Celtic would challenge City in the Prem. I kind of doubt it. I sort of doubt that, my friend. When Levi plays right back, there is no offensive balance. But this is the one thing I would say, David. Do you think you'll get the same energy from, say, for instance, Don as an example, went mad about Poch playing Levi out of position last year? Do you think he'll have that same energy if, let's just forget what it says on paper, if he's predominantly in left back or right back positions, do you think the energy will be the same?
No, because Poch was a former Spurs manager. I always said this. The last was I can't remember. The last, Poch and Tuchel especially are the two Chelsea managers I've seen in a while where they've been there, and despite them doing well, people are still angry. And it's really weird because I don't get it. Because I remember when Tuchel first came in, everyone said he'd be a failure. Then he won the Champions League and everyone's like, oh, yay, we won the Champions League. But deep down, you could tell oh, yeah, they wanted the manager to actually be bad. And it was the same thing with Poch. Because he's an old Spurs manager, when he did start to win games, or you'd watch games and be like, we've lost not because Poch coached us wrong. It was because the players didn't finish their chances or whatever, which is still going to be a problem under this new manager, which is going to be quite funny anyway. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's all on Poch, it's all on Poch." And again, it'd be nice for everyone to have the same energy, but that's just not going to happen. So I didn't expect it.
And I get this point that Cucurella could play there, and I understand that. I'm just asking questions at the minute because we don't know all the answers to things, and I'm intrigued to see if people do have the same energy. And if the energy is different, then what I'm really excited about is going to be, and it's what we do for it. It's what the channel's about. It's about explaining why you have that difference. And maybe people have forgotten what fan content's about. It's about giving your opinion, and then your opinion being challenged and your opinion being scrutinized. And I feel that all that stuff's important. I really, really do. Look, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who was tuned in. We are live after the game between Arsenal and Manchester United in a few hours' time. So make sure you're all back and tuning in for that one. I know it's pre-season, but I think tonight's going to be an exciting one, if I'm absolutely honest with you. David, Matt, Ads, thank you, boys, for coming on and joining us. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.